hungry for a while. And so for whatever reason, that kind of resonated with me on just a person level, a human level. And so started talking to other nonprofits. I've always worked in nonprofit world because that's where all the money is. That's why I do it. So no, I'm just kidding. So started talking to Haven of Hope and the Dolores Project, and this was an issue, and this was a big issue that wasn't getting addressed. As one lady said, I can trip over socks and I don't have a pad or a liner on the shelves. So February of 19, I filed the 501c3, filed the Articles of Incorporation, and what we do is we build kits, so bags kind of like this, drawstring backpacks, and in every one is 40 tampons, 20 pads, 20 liners, a package of feminine wipes, and 6 pair of underwear. Since we started, we have handed out in 2 years, we've handed out over 3,500 kits. So we've supported over 10,000 periods in kind of the first 2 years. We do that. We get these kits. 25% of everything we do goes directly back to the streets. So we walk around Civic Center Park or Boulder or Arvada Library, wherever it is that folks are in need, and hand them out. And then the rest go to 6 other agencies that support just people that are living in extreme poverty, experiencing homelessness, unstably housed. Bayard Enterprises is one, Dolores Project is another. And what we've seen is that this is a need that we can't keep up with. We currently have a wait list of, as of yesterday, it's over 10 agencies, and to meet those needs, we would have to come up with an additional 900 kits a month. So the St. Francis Center said they would need 500 kits a month yesterday for us to meet our need. And that doesn't address the schools. It doesn't address colleges. It doesn't address all these other needs. So we have opened a second city about 2 weeks ago. We opened up a location in Minneapolis. And then after this, I have a phone call with somebody in Seattle that wants to start a period. And I think it's great, and it's also terrible because, again, it goes back to that's the level of need that's out there. And I think just kind of what Period Kits is more about as we're growing. When we were at the Women's March last year in January, we had a lot of people come up to us and were very complimentary and liked what we were doing. And they would say, oh, you build these kits and you send them to Mumbai, or you build these kits and you send them to Tanzania, and I'm like, no, I build these kits and send them to Broomfield, or I send them to Boulder, or I send them to Love. This is over here, right? I know Natasha's heard this, but I got an email in March of last year from a local high school that had a 14-year-old in the health aid office because she was changing her tampon every other day because that's what she could afford. And so that's really what Period Kits is about, is going to be, the kits, we're always going to do kits, but it's about education, and it's about advocacy, and it's about people need to know that this is happening right now in probably in high schools really close to you. And so essentially that's it. That's what I do. In my spare time, I have a full-time job at Bayard Enterprises, but in my spare time, started this little organization, and we just cannot keep up with the demand that's out there, which is kind of sad.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I am obsessed with the work that you're doing. And actually, that story that you told about folks thinking that the kits were going abroad is such a common thing. And I'm glad you shared that, because I think that some of the things that I learned from you over the last couple of months are that period poverty is in our neighborhood. And you told some stories about how girls in our high schools, are like the one that you just shared, are really having to choose between being able to afford hygiene products or being able to afford other things that they need. And so it's a really powerful story. I appreciate that. We have some time for questions. So we'll take 2 questions, either in chat or by unmuting. And then you'll have a chance to ask Jeff a ton more questions later.
Not a ton.
Yes, a ton.
Hi, hi Natasha.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, I've got a quick question. I'm Maria. I work with Game On Sports for Girls. I run summer camp programming. And my question is, do you have groups that help put together the period kits, like volunteer groups. We are definitely looking at having our summer camp focus some of our energy on giving back to our community. I work with girls in grades K through 8, so having them understand that this is in their backyard, this is with their person sitting next to them in class. And so I'm just curious how that works in terms of groups assisting with helping you meet your needs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've done everything from virtual events where folks have either dropped off at a central location around town. They built the kits via Zoom. We have a couple storage units where folks can go on weekend or whenever they have time, and 3 people only at a time right now, and they can build kits. We also started last summer due to the mayor's office reached out and was doing these outreach events. So we also have little mini kits. So it's just a brown paper bag with 12 tampons, 6 pads, 6 liners. Hoping to get someone, through that month or something. So there's a ton of different ways to. I can't build all these in my apartment watching college football. That's the short answer.
Awesome. I will be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for Jeff. I'd love to know. Sorry, Betsy. All right. I'd love to know how reusable cups and other reusable products are being incorporated, changing the game of what you do.
For us, they're not an option. The folks we serve don't have access to hot water, don't have access to a restroom. So if we get these products, we do find an agency where folks are housed and are able to use them. Right now, it's still been, I think in the 2 years, maybe we've gotten a dozen Diva cups and no underwear, the Thinx underwear and things like that. And it's mainly because for period kits, we're trying to get folks to stop using newspaper. And like, that's our aim. So that's kind of, like I said, if we get the products, we can find a home for them.
Yeah.
But for us, this is what we're trying to focus on.
Yeah.
There's enough to focus on.
No, you've definitely told me some of those stories about newspapers and other things folks have used. And Emma just added, not a fun fact, that many insurance companies do not consider tampons as a qualified medical expense. Do you want to talk about that?
I mean, they're not they're kind of like diapers. They're not covered by benefits. They're not covered by SNAP or TANF. I know there's some legislation that under the last half of the year, they were covering some products, but not sure how long that's going to last. And I know even in Colorado, when Colorado looked at making them just tax exempt, I think it was a $2.7 billion loss in revenue. So that's where Colorado stopped at making them tax exempt. They are tax exempt in Denver from the city tax.
Yeah.
We were part of that last year or in 2019, but there's also some, I know prisons don't provide them, or if they do, I know in Arizona, if you go to prison, you get 12 pads a month, which then commoditizes them, and they're, an asset. And I think because what I always tell my board is the biggest thing we're fighting 2,500 years of stigma.
Yeah.
Right, where no one wants to talk about it, and people still won't touch the product. Or when they were made tax exempt, I heard, oh well, they're going to make my condoms tax exempt, and it's like, no, you're not even talking about the same thing. So it's like an uphill battle for real, so like where we're going. But I know Natasha's heard me say this, and I always say it, but so what? If it takes a 51-year-old fat white guy to lead this charge, then that's what it takes, right? And let's do this and get these in the hands of people that need them.
Absolutely. And I know that you've also been working on some policy work. You mentioned it a little bit with helping the city of Denver make tampons tax exempt. What else are you doing? We started a bill last year, right before COVID. There was a bill introduced to get pads, a tampon machine and pad machines in middle schools and high schools that were on reduced lunches already. So I think that's Title I or something. It did not go very well. We had a lot of folks in there that wanted to let's get all this product and keep them at the nurse's office. And so why does somebody have to take an extra trip? Right? If you're supplying toilet paper, you should be supplying pads.
So we were involved in that, and like I said, it didn't go that great. So we're just ready to focus again and try again. I know recently Denver Public Schools just made menstrual products free. That was largely because of Tay Anderson, which is, one 21-year-old man made this, that was really part of his cause and part of running. And that's awesome. But it's one of, I think, 181 school districts in Colorado. So it's just right now there's always something else to go about and figure out. But I think what we've shown in the first 2 years is so once people know that the period kits are there, they want to support it. They're passionate about it. They want to get involved. And that's kind of what keeps us going to where I spent this morning at 5 o'clock. I live up in Westminster, and I drove to Lone Tree to take somebody a kit, just an individual that had reached out and had got laid off and was struggling paying for these products. So
Yeah.
We'll get there. One day we'll all be like New Zealand and they'll be free.
Go New Zealand. We have one more question and then we'll move on to our next presentation. So Nick asked, what's the key constraint to scaling this? Funds, person power, both?
It's both, because it's the funds, definitely, because it takes, to buy the products and get the products into the hands of the people that need it. But it's also a grassroots organization, and me and our board of 5 people all have full-time jobs, right? And then we're spending the evenings and the weekends trying to plug the gap, I guess. But we're trying to, it's both, and it's also just an issue that nobody wants to talk about. No one wants to talk about a period, and no one wants to, and that's just too bad. I always say, like, we're all here because of a period. That's how it works. That's how, right? Like, no, I mean, I know my sister's a nurse practitioner, and she's like, well, actually, and I'm like, no, but for the most part, it's a powerful thing, and it should be talked about and treated with reverence and respect, not Aunt Flo's in town, or not, you got to walk to the bathroom with half your arm missing because you got a tampon up your sleeve. Like, that's stupid. So hopefully the conversations break down the stigmas, then other people will join and want to start supporting this.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Jeff. I've definitely been that person who, with the half my arm, I mean, in middle school, you don't want to be noticed. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And Nick, thanks for teeing up what Try for Charity is about. We will tell you how you can use your money, goods, time, and talent to help Jeff later today. Thanks so much. Thanks, Jeff. And next we'll hear from the Women's Bean Project and Annie Carruthers.
All right. Well, hi, everyone. We're so happy. I work for Women's Bean Project. I'm the marketing manager there, and I'm just excited to be a part of this opportunity. So thank you for inviting us. So Women's Bean Project, we're a nonprofit social enterprise that has a 7-month transitional employment program within a food manufacturing business. And we operate on the main idea that we truly believe that every woman has the power to transform her life through employment. So we hire women as production assistants into our transitional employment program. They go through an entire program, which I'll go into in a little bit. And at the end of that 7 months, the goal is to move into a full-time job in the community. And now, most of the women we serve, though, face numerous barriers to employment. We've been around since 1989, and originally the focus was largely on people experiencing homelessness, but the barriers have shifted a lot over the years. And now about 90 to 95% of the women we serve are justice involved, often transitioning from maybe prison back into the community, from the halfway house back into the community, or are working through navigating a employment system that does not favor felonies on a background. And about that same percentage of women are also in an active recovery from substance use. And I would say, to add on top of that, have experienced numerous and varied levels of trauma just throughout their life. And so women who truly, we say we hire women who are experiencing chronic unemployment and to no fault of their own, or just at the face of a system that has caused them to sort of go in and out of employment for years, if not from, their teenage years up until when they're 40. The average woman we serve is 37, and the average woman that we serve has 1 to 2 children. And so that's the main premise of like the type of women we serve. And so when they come into our program, like I said, they're hired as production assistants in our food manufacturing business. We have varied food products. We're known as Women's Bean Project because that very first project 31 years ago was a 10-bean soup mix, and still our best-selling product today. So that's pretty amazing. But they operate and they learn job readiness skills on the production floor, teamwork, even learning how to manage and operate equipment, that type of thing. But then there's this whole other side of the program, which is where I truly believe a lot of that magic happens. And every woman goes through a set of classes. And so they go through our core classes, which are financial literacy, computer literacy, Dress for Success, which is a job readiness program, another national nonprofit that we work with, GED prep, and then some sort of group therapy workshop, but then numerous other programs too. So we bring in dental care through Dental at Your Door, which is a nonprofit, eye exams, health exams. We have a women's empowerment group going on right now, art therapy. We've had therapeutic yoga or trauma-informed yoga in the past, all sorts of things. So about 30-40% of a woman's time in Women's Bean Project is spent in the classroom, as we say, just to like generalize it. And then the other side is on the production floor. And they're paid for all 40 or 36 hours that they work with us each week, whether it's in the production floor or in the classroom. And then the other key piece of the sort of formula, if you will, not that it's like a straight linear line ever, but that every woman is paired one-on-one with a job coach. And with that job coach, they go through, we work with a kit called the Get a Job Kit, which another social enterprise out in California creates. And it really just facilitates that whole process of writing a resume, prepping for interviews, learning how to job search, and then walking through that process. So they meet weekly with a job coach throughout that whole 7 months. And we also have lots of workshops. We bring in mock interviews, which is always a huge asset and always a good experience, albeit, nerve-wracking, as we all know, going into interviews. And then we also host a workshop called the Letter of Explanation Workshop. And really that's a letter that accompanies a cover letter, if you will, that sort of talks about a person's past, maybe it's their criminal history, basically what might come up in a background check and getting ahead of it and talking about in a way that they can really own it and talk about how actually the skills that they've learned through maybe some of these experiences that might be looked down upon by general society have actually like aided in their strengths throughout their time. So yeah, I mean, the past year has been incredibly challenging, but also empowering in its own ways, like we've all sort of experienced. But Women's Bean Project was considered an essential business from the start, so we're grateful that we never had to shut down. And very early on, we resonated that bean soup mixes and baking mixes really resonated with people who were staying home safe. It was kind of insane that our sales last April, while people, I think, were stockpiling food items, were crazy through the roof. So it's been a really big year of growth and change that we're incredibly grateful for, but also, navigating the challenges of COVID. So like figuring out virtual programming, figuring out how to keep our community safe. So we stopped all sort of in-person volunteer opportunities for a period of time and then had to figure out how to do it in a safe way. As I said, we've also, navigated, most of the women we work with live in group housing situations. And so COVID in those situations is just much more prevalent than they would be for an individual that lives at home. And so it's been a lot of sort of like stop and go pivoting as we've all experienced. But we're excited that it seems like our business side of it has been growing. We're really fortunate for that. And so we're looking at the new horizon of like what the future could be like. I did have a video. I don't know if it's ready to be played. We can try it. Okay, cool. It features Terry. She graduated last January, right before the shutdowns happened. She went to go work at Goodwill, which actually was hired by a woman who had graduated previously. She was furloughed right at the shutdown. We were able to hire her back for a period of time, but then she's back at Goodwill now. And so this is her story that she shared as part of a fundraiser last year. So here's Terry.
My name is Terry, and I started working at the Women's Bean Project on July 24th, 2019. My life before coming to the Women's Bean Project was a roller coaster of relationships, addiction, relapse. I ended up in prison. I became homeless. The day I decided to become clean and sober is the day I came and applied here.
That way we could seal them up good.
I knew it was a new beginning, a new change, different people, a new environment. It was comfortable because it was just women. I don't know. I didn't think that anybody loved me. I didn't think I inspired anybody, not even my own kids. I suffered with a lot of guilt and shame for going to prison and leaving my kids and leaving my parents. I felt I should have been a better mother, a better daughter, a better girlfriend, a better this, a better that, you know. I feel like every day I get up to come to work, I'm inspiring somebody. I'm inspiring myself. Every skill I learn down at the production line, I'm able to teach the new women that come that skill, and it makes me feel good inside that I can do that for the next group that comes. The boxes I send out that have my initials on them, I'm knowing that I'm going somewhere. So I know that they're getting it, and I know I packaged it, and I know that I did good quality control on it, so I know when they open it, you know, I know that they're gonna get, you know, a good product. I love coming here every day, and I'm gonna be sad when I have to go, but you know, it's been a journey.
So yeah, I think to sum it up, a lot of the women we work with do suffer from a lot of shame, just from what they've been told their whole life. And so we really do work with them just to, you know, start to stand tall, find their purpose, and like find the dignity that can come with, you know, just a steady paycheck and coming to work every day in a supportive environment. So yeah, thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. The part that struck me the most, actually, of course, the dignity and creating an experience that allows women to feel like they have purpose, but also the fact that she writes her name or she initials each of the boxes. It's such a small thing, but I feel like it's probably really powerful for her to feel like she did that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just part of like the shipping process. And then the other part that we have is on like the bean soup mixes and baking mixes, there's a sticker that has a woman's signature on it. And when a woman graduates, she gets to write her signature on it. And it's really cool because there's customers who are in like Pennsylvania or like all the way across who are like, tell Terry I made the soup she packed last night. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so it's so fun to like be able to share and just talk about how, you know, it's all right here sort of feeling, but there's people like all over the country who are cheering and supporting you on your journey.
My heart is so full. Thank you for sharing that story. Whew, deep breaths. This is going to be an emotional day, guys. We are opening up for a couple of questions. We'll take 2 to 3 questions. Go ahead and place them in chat or unmute while I catch my breath. Becca, similar to the question we asked Jeff, what resources are most needed for you? Like, how can we help the most?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I feel like I always say the best ways to support us are through obviously purchasing our products, donating, and then, you know, just spreading awareness about us. I feel like we grow through other people finding out about us. And so we have tours that we offer every month virtually now. We have a fundraiser that's also a graduation celebration coming up in April that I think you'll probably get details about in an email after this. But then organizationally, like over why this is not necessarily, it's not going to be one individual's effort, but the biggest constraint for us right now is just our space. We are like packed to the brim. We operate out of a decommissioned firehouse right on the north side of Curtis Park. We purchased it from the city in 1995, and it's an incredibly charming and amazing building, but it is about half the size of what we need right now to you know, to grow and to operate at the way we want to. We have like 5 storage pods in the driveway. And so we are in the process of moving to what we are calling our forever home. And so, you know, that is going to entail us, you know, fundraising, but then also, of course, just spreading the word about Women's Bean Project and getting it out there so that more and more people can support us through their gift giving or, you know, their donations and like that.
Yeah, in fact, Jamie just put in chat that they make great gifts too. I feel inspired. Yeah. Hope someone's got a birthday coming up.
Yeah, so every holiday season's our crazy time, which much like any retail is. And this past year, the Monday before Thanksgiving, we were unexpectedly mentioned in a New York Times gift guide. I had no idea it was coming.
Yes.
And so, yes, but also like chaos. And so in 5 days, because that's also when Black Friday is happening, Cyber, all of those forces that don't normally get attached to a nonprofit's ethos affect us just because we have a business. And in 5 days, we received the same number of orders we normally do in November and December entirely. And so it was like pedal to the metal. We had like so many volunteers, total team effort, all hands on deck trying to get the orders out in time for this, deadline of Christmas. But I would say gifts are a great way to support us when you're thinking about, any type of gift that you would give throughout the year.
And it also sounds like we should order early because we have no idea what's going to happen.
It was like Shipageddon, all of that happening this last year because of COVID. It was just, one more, path to navigate in 2020.
Add that. Susan asked, what's the best way to find your products? And I think Marissa responded by sending her to your online shop.
Yeah, online's a great way to support us. Obviously, that's the best way in terms of margins and stuff like that. But we're in King Soopers and Whole Foods across the Front Range, Safeways. We're also in numerous small gift shops around the country. We're in about 1,000 stores across the country in total through small gift shops. And then grocers really are our main area. So I would say soups and baking mixes are in grocery stores in the area, but the best way to find, we have about 50 different products now, is our online shop. Amazon too, but online shop.
Amazing. So lots of congratulations on the success and being mentioned in the New York Times gift guide. That must have really been it must have been powerful for your team.
Yeah.
You should feel proud. Cool. Thank you so much, Annie. We'll get to ask Annie more questions at the end, and we'll move on to the Women's Wilderness Project and Sarah and Anna.
Hi, folks. I'm Sarah. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Executive Director of Women's Wilderness, and I am joined by Anna Gablikian. I'll be doing a lot of the talking today, but they're also here. Jeff and Annie, you all are doing incredible work, and it's humbling to be speaking alongside you. And thanks very much, Natasha, for the opportunity to come. And thanks to you all who showed up, you Pop Socket people and you Googlers and everyone else. So Women's Wilderness is, our mission is to support girls, women, and LGBTQ+ people to access their power and improve their health through connections to the outdoors and community. We've been around for about 23 years. Serving, we actually have folks nationwide that come to our programs, but we're based in Boulder and have always been based in Boulder, and we serve largely the Denver metro area. That's probably 80% of our participants. On the surface, we do rock climbing, backpacking, canoeing. We've done fly fishing, mountain biking, llama trips, all kinds of things for girls, women, and queer folks. But that's really not, and we do those in Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, like the Rocky Mountains, basically, New Mexico this year as well. And we do short day-long things. We do after-school programs. We do expeditions. We do a lot of 1 and 2 week stuff. So it's year-round programming. And that's kind of the tool for us. What we do is always really much more about the social impact of the experience and the transferability of the experience of being in a like identity group and in a safe space led by an instructor with a like identity to work on 4 social areas. So one is leadership development, mental health, physical health, and then environmental stewardship or connection to the land. And so that's really our starting point. We were built, if you are familiar with Colorado Outward Bound or Outward Bound International or US or NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School. Those are other organizations that were built on these kind of post-World War II notions of masculinity, of leadership and what that looks like. And they're amazing. And there are plenty of people that go through them of all genders that, have a wonderful time. But our founder 23 years ago saw an opportunity to not just create a different experience in the mountains for girls and women at that time, and queer folks as well now, but to use a starting point of what is it that folks actually need from the outdoor experience. So is it about building muscle? Is it about building courage? In some ways, yes, but it could also be about building solidarity or self-confidence or more positive body image. And so that's really what we're trying to do. And yeah, it's the kind of work that we do. We have like some open enrollment courses. We have some affinity programs. So last year, about 47% of our participants identified as Black, Indigenous, people of color, so BIPOC. And so we have Trailblazers, which is a monthly climbing and hiking series for BIPOC women, led by BIPOC women. We've got Queer Wilderness, which is for queer youth specifically. We have different interactions around the year, but do a big summer program. And we've got Outdoor Girls in East Denver and Aurora, and that's for newcomer girls. So immigrant, refugee, asylee girls. We've got about 30 girls participating this year and a bunch of young leaders as well. And we're hoping to scale that program. So that's a really important one to us. As well, we do custom courses. And so if there's anyone at Google who's interested, could be really fun for us to do together. We've worked with Fortune 500 companies. We work with DaVita every year. Worked with Faegre, worked with Naropa, Girl Scouts to create a custom course for different groups. Sometimes employee resource groups can be for women's team, or can be for a mixed gender team as well. So that's something that really helps us get some earned income, which is about 20% of our budget is earned income. So let's see. I think the other piece that I want to mention is that about 70% of our participants are receiving financial aid. So we've always looked at access to the outdoors, because in order to do great work through the outdoors, you have to get access to the outdoors, but that is not our end game. But we've looked at it through this intersectional lens of not just looking at women or girls and gender, but also looking at socioeconomics. So our first programs, we were kind of like an early TOMS model, where we'd buy one, someone would buy a course and then give one. And we did mostly our girl programs were with at homeless shelters and with groups of Latina newcomer girls. And so we still do that. We still have an integrated experience, but we're giving a ton of scholarships. So that's really important. And if you support us in any way by coming on a course, or you can look at our wish list and all the different ways you can support, but that's the idea, is that you're kind of paying it forward so someone else can get an experience. So I'm going to play a video, because actually I don't talk about our work nearly as eloquently as the young folks who actually experience the magic of what we do. But before I do, I just want to ask you all to lean in for a second, open up that chat, and write yes in there if you use the outdoors to support your mental health during the past year in any way. And write no if you didn't. Yeah, me too. Me too. And that is largely because I have access, and because it is assumed that I can do that. And I do have a mountain bike, and I do have a pair of shoes, and I do have proximity to trail, and I can read the trail sign, and it doesn't feel unsafe for me to do that. And so this is actually what we're talking about. It's like, it seems, especially for white folks that are middle and high income folks, it seems like a given. Like, of course, we live right here in Colorado. Of course, you can just go outside. And the majority of our participants, especially scholarship receiving folks, never have been on those trails, never thought about it, don't have that as an asset. And for me, I experienced a loss of a close family member during COVID, and it was lifeblood. I mean, it truly was the thing that got me through. So, okay, enough about my SAP story. Let's listen to some girls. I think someone's gonna, thank you, Marissa, for playing this video. Yeah.
I was like, oh, it'll just be a week, it'll be kind of fun, but honestly, like, it was life-changing. Like,
three things I learned is how to tie a knot. I also learned how to be safe while rock climbing, and I also learned how to rappel down by myself.
We did hikes and like a nature art show where we all made things out of nature that was lying on the ground. My favorite thing about the camp was going on a bunch of hikes and camping. I liked just seeing so many things and animals. We really got to like be like leaders for a day, and we got to like be really independent, like choose where we wanted to go. And it just made it so much more fun because like usually I wouldn't want to be in like a leader role, and my counselors were like, hey, maybe try to step into this, and it was really fun.
My favorite thing about the trip is getting to make new friends and learning the other girls' experience.
Like I connected with these women more than I had really connected with people in a long time.
We all got to know each other after a while. We all got really, really close. Yeah, I definitely made a lot of like really great connections. We still like talk and stuff.
And it's a great experience to meet new people. I've stayed in touch with everyone I met there. They're all great.
There's amazing view that the leaders are so kind and awfully nice.
One way I felt supported by my fellow participants was everyone respected each other and understood each other.
A lot of people have called me weird because I think a bit differently than other children, and so nobody called me weird. Yeah, everybody was just okay with everybody else, and it was very easygoing. And yeah, our world is full of judgment, but like it's just nice to have a space where you don't get judged and you feel taken care of and supported. Yeah, it felt more like I could speak my mind and speak my truth and state my needs when judgment was taken out of the equation.
I was surprised by how capable I felt because I have been like kind of struggling in school and in my life, and being able to be capable and climbing and pushing myself physically and talking about my emotions. It was really cool. It was really cool to be able to make our own decisions and be listened to. It is a challenge, but it is doable. It helps you to learn about yourself, and it's a great environment to learn and make mistakes and just grow.
I think it's important that other people have the experience that I did because it's really fun and it's a chance to be outdoors, and it's a chance to have a hobby and you could just keep doing it if you like.
I think it's really important for other girls to have this opportunity because it's just really fun and calming to be in the outdoors.
And I think it's important for people to have the experience that I did so that they can realize how powerful they really are. It is super rewarding to finish the trip and know how strong you really are and how much you did.
Women's Wilderness for me is about making mistakes but growing from them, and I love that it's all women, it's all girls, because it really makes you feel comfortable and safe, and it was really good.
In my opinion, I feel like WW is about women empowerment, and it's just a chance for women and girls to feel strong and just to feel supported and comfortable and just confident to do things outdoors.
What sets Women's Wilderness course apart from other courses is it's not only about the trip, but connecting, understanding, and overcoming.
Yeah, thanks for that. And, you know, I know just quickly before we move on that there are, in the private sector, there's a lot of conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and at the C-suite and at the board level, and women's representation and BIPOC representation. And we believe that girls inherently are born as leaders. They just have that cultivated, or they have that pummeled early on in their lives. And so this is upstream from that. This is what we're trying to do, is create a safe and enabling environment for girls to thrive and step into those roles. So thanks very much for listening.
That was amazing. I'm so inspired by your work. This is so cool, guys. All right. Any questions for Sarah and the Women's Wilderness Project? Sorry, Women's Wilderness. Is it Institute, Sarah?
Yeah, we used to be Women's Wilderness Institute. Now we just go by Women's Wilderness.
With Women's Wilderness.
Yes.
All right. Questions for Maria. I saw your hand.
I don't have a question. I've been fangirling Women's Wilderness for years and finally got the opportunity for Game On to partner with them. And I just, from a partnership perspective, they're incredible. The girls in my program have very much appreciated what they've offered in terms of, we've been doing these hikes. We did a family hike. We've done these middle school girl hikes. Their instructors are amazing. And I just want to give them mad props because I am constantly learning from your guys' program on how I can better my own program. And I just wanted to say you're doing amazing work. And so.
Thanks, Maria. Appreciate it and appreciate partnering with y'all.
So we have time for 2 questions, and then we have to get to the try stuff because we ran out of time. Lauren's a foster parent, and know there would be. I'm a foster parent, and I know there would be a lot of interest in the community. How does the application process work? Do you get any foster kids in your groups?
Yes, we do get foster kids. We get all kinds of kids in our groups. So basically, you sign up on the website for a course, and there's also a registration for financial aid if that's needed. And then we just base it on kind of the trust system of disclosed income.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sarah. One more question for Sarah.
If there are no more questions for Sarah, Sarah has a quick question for you. Chance to win a free Women's Wilderness hat. Who is the first woman to summit Mount Everest? No Googling, people. No Googling. Put it in the chat. I bet somebody could tell me the first man.
Oh, okay. So.
Okay, Nick.
I don't know her name, but I read. Okay, I don't know her name, but I know that she went with an expedition, and she was like a big socialite in New York. Am I thinking of the right person or no?
Ooh,
is this a different person?
I don't think so. Not that I knew of.
Okay. Dang it.
Okay. In the interest of time, it is a woman, a Japanese mountaineer named Junko Taibi, and she climbed it in 1975, about 20 years after Tenzing Norgay and Sir Edmund Hillary climbed it. And she became very famous in Japan, and she had an asteroid named after her. All right, Natasha, over to you. No one gets the hat, but you can buy one on our website. Starting next week, we're going to have merch up there.
Love. Thanks so much, Sarah. Nick, nice try. I saw how you were trying to just buy time from telling us all the things that you knew. Love it. Love it. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about Chai for Charity and how we invite you to give your money, goods, time, and talent to these 3 amazing organizations. Chai for Charity, our mission is to inspire people to give in creative ways. And essentially, we want to make the process of giving as inclusive as possible for people of different socioeconomic backgrounds and generations so that you can give in ways that honor where you are in life or where we are in a pandemic. So 20-year-old me had lots of time, but no money and no talent. 40-year-old me has no time, some money, some talent. 60-year-old me will have different versions of those things. We even have programs for children where we have inspired them to give in creative ways. And you can learn a lot more about that on our website, chaiforcharity.org. In the interest of time, I'm going to move straight into how you get your money, goods, time, and talent to these organizations. So, muted myself before I got to the good stuff. All right. Go Chai wish list for the Googlers, and for the non-Googlers, Marissa or Laura, if you could please put it in chat, the whole long link, that would be super. And Chai wish list. So there are 4 ways to give money. Once you get to the Chai wish list, we've actually put donate buttons on the Chai wish list that direct you to each of the nonprofits' donation pages. There are 2 ways to give your money if you're a Googler. 1, to the organization itself, because that's the quickest way you can get them your money. And 2, through Google's giving portal, Benevity. So you can do it either way. And I recommend that you also request the match through Benevity. So that's how you give your money. Goods, time, and talent. So what we do is we work with nonprofits to actually source their needs in those other 3 categories, goods, time, and talent. And then we list them here for you. And the way that you interact with this wish list, as you might imagine, is you put your email address, personal or professional, and thank you, Marissa, for modeling that. You put your email address in any of the EFG columns, and then the nonprofits will actually reach out to you within the week to collect on whatever it is that you commit to. We've also created Amazon wish lists to make it very easy for you to hit the Amazon wish list and click on many, many goods to send them to the nonprofits. So this is an example of Period Kits wish list. And these go, like I said, directly to the nonprofit. So this is how we invite you to give your money, goods, time, and talent. Do you have any questions for me? Oh, need access. Well, that's a rookie Google mistake. I will fix that immediately. In the meantime, does anyone have any questions for me or anyone else?
Natasha, sorry if I missed this.
You're fine.
But for the Googlers, is there a way to multiply impact or get matched on these?
Yes. So through Benevity, you would request the match.
Thank you.
I'd also like to point out that Google matches volunteer hours as well. And so if you donate your time, you can also get a match through Benevity. I think it's $10 an hour to the organization.
Thanks so much, Jenna. Everyone should have access now. Thanks so much. So now you can give your money, goods, time, and talent and get your money and time and talent matched by Google. Go team. Wonderful. Well, I'm so grateful for you all joining us here at Try for Charity, our very first for Women at Google, and in honor of International Women's Day and Month. These are amazing nonprofits. Give them all of your money, goods, time, and talent, or as much as you can right now. And I'm very grateful for all of you joining us and for the 3 nonprofits sharing your work with us, and for Women at Leeds for inviting Try for Charity and these 3 remarkable nonprofits to share our work with you. You rock. Go do good things.
Thanks, everyone.
I can't hang up my there we go. I'm like, I just want to hang up, but I kind of don't. So,
no, I
great
mean,
job.
Means more time with us. All right. I adore you. We'll talk soon.
Awesome
Thank
job.
you. Thanks, Betsy. Bye, Marissa. Bye, Jenna.
Bye.
Bye. Hope it went okay. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm hanging out because, yeah. Anyway, you could probably stop recording though.
Wait, let me. God, there's a lot of things to remember when you're running an event.